Hey everybody, it's Betsy from Story Drawing Skills, and I am going through some of my Pinterest visual image references for the characters that I'm making for this comic that I'm making, and I'm moving around a few of them because they didn't fit as well into each character type as I first thought. So I just wanted to kind of show that this would be my next step after kind of figuring out some of the story elements. I usually head over to Pinterest and just start looking up what I think might be inspiring for certain characters and get them all on one board so that I can look at the whole thing and kind of get the vibe that the images make when they're next to each other like that. Then I head over to a drawing program. This one is Sketchbook Pro. And the characters don't have names yet, so I'm still just identifying them off of the magic that they will be using. And I picked a couple of shapes for each one that I kind of thought went with the type of magic that they use. The academic one, I made that little swirl just because I thought they would have a calmer demeanor, but that shape I don't think ended up going into their design at all. So now I'm just sketching out little body types, little stick figures, different heights, different widths, heavier on the bottom, heavier on the top, seeing how they all look together, standing next to one another. And I like to darken them in so that I have even less attachment to them and they become more like shadows. Then I can just concentrate on how the shapes look next to one another, and if they're too similar, that's a problem. And if they are too different, that's actually a problem. The thing that was happening with the little short character there was that the head was so big, it felt like it didn't really belong with all these other figures that had fairly normal head shapes. So I just keep sketching different body types, sometimes revisiting the shapes that I had listed above. And if I don't like one, then I just get rid of it. But most of the time, I like to keep like 5 or 6 shapes on my paper at one time, just so that I know what I've already tried. I also tried to put in a little more of a keyword by saying the academic one would be kind of like a butler, and the elemental one would be like a shopkeeper. And I know shopkeeper sounds really vague because there's all kinds of shopkeepers, but I had a particular shopkeeper in my mind from one of the Fire Emblem games. So here I'm just revisiting my boards, double checking the shapes that I had gathered as my inspiration. And I really wanted to stick to some kind of really diamond-y shape, or really full shape for the elemental magic character. And so I'm just trying different clothes on like different silhouettes, different shapes, inspired by some of the Pinterest things, and trying to go back to that diamond shape in different proportions. Some of them were looking a little too modern. Some of them are looking a little too blobby. So I just marked the 3 that I liked with hearts. And from there, moved on to, well, after I save it, because you gotta save your progress. Don't forget to save your progress. And then I went on to the academic one, and at first I'm pretty sure I thought this was going to be a guy. So obviously by calling it butler. So I made the silhouette fairly male in appearance. And then again just started blocking out some different shapes that I had off of my academic magic board. And most of the references I found for academic stuff, the robes were really like voluminous, and they covered up a lot. So I was trying out, different long sleeves, different lengths for the tunics or the robes. Tried a shorter sleeve there that I didn't really like, and tried to make it more like, is it a cowl? No, what is it called? The like flap on the jacket with like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like that time period. Like that's what I was going for with that one. And again, I marked the ones I liked and changed my mind on that one. And then I went over to the Beast Magic one, which I knew was going to be the youngest character, and that might have something to do with Beast Boy, I think. I felt like I was subconsciously channeling a lot of Beast Boy characteristics for this character, but, you know, it happens sometimes. So I was trying to think of something a little more practical and a little more wilderness feeling. So the shapes that I started out with were mostly like gloves and boots and things that would let this character move around easily. I threw on some hairstyles to see what kind of shapes those would make. And again, tried that like cowl shape and some of the other shapes that I had used on the other silhouettes, and marked the ones that I like the best so far. Then once I have the ones that I like the best, I kind of come back and try mixing and matching some things from the ones that I like, or I try to rank them so I can narrow it down a bit. So I'm just going through and marking the ones that I like and, you know, how much I like them, but then just doing a few more variations so that I can experiment a little bit more and see if there's something I like even more than my first run through, because often my first ideas are not my best ideas, and so I go through really quickly, really sloppily in this stage just to try as many different things as comes to mind, and then I can visually put them next to each other and really see what's working and what's not working. And I ended up not really using any of the designs that I was trying to work with for the elemental character, because I really just wanted to go back to a diamond shape, which is what I'm doing right there. And even though it was a shape that blocked out so much of her body, I really, really liked this one Turkish, whatever it is, jacket, night dress, I don't know. But I really liked the diamond shape that it created, and so I just went back to that really diamond shape for that character. Then I kind of put them side by side a little bit just to see how they looked next to one another and if they looked like they might exist in the same place, and I think it was okay. So that's the first pass at my character's silhouette, and next time I'm going to decide what goes inside of that silhouette.